We are a Delta Propel school. We're a United Aviate school. We're a Skywest Elite program. I had 60 companies participate in our Outlook Day.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, welcome to another amazingly fun interview episode at Ready for Pushback. My name's Nick Fialka, and I am here with you. We are talking about Western Michigan University. We're talking flight schools today. And Western Michigan University is a Part 141 school. They are located, guess where? Western Michigan. Yep, you got it. And they support all the major conferences. They support Women in Aviation, OBAP, and GPA. You name it, their booths are there. And I love that they have that giving spirit. And they are always looking to spread the word about their school. And I think it's awesome. Tom was really, really gracious and generous to sit down and discuss the school. So if you are a person who is considering going into aviation, maybe you're a rotary wing person and you're going to try to get into the fixed wing world, or maybe you're listening to this show and you know somebody who's really interested in aviation, share this episode with them. Great opportunity to learn about the school, to learn about the culture and how they fly and what they do and what you can expect. It's a really fun conversation. So sit back, relax. Let's get ready for Pushback. Hey, pilot, did you just get a new conditional job offer? Are you getting out of the military and going to move your family across the country? Are you going to move in base somewhere, or are you going to go out to find that second home that you've been looking for? Well, I want you to stop right now, pick up the phone, and call Marty and the team at Trident Home Loans. It's an organization that's run by pilots. They understand pilot pay. They understand contracts. They understand military. They have the best VA loans in the United States. Marty and his team have been doing mortgages for years. They've been doing my mortgages for years. I trust him and his team more than any other organization. I challenge you to get a better deal anywhere else. Go ahead, reach out, get a mortgage quote, and then call Marty and his team. They will walk you through the process and show you how competitive their rates are. So go right now, TridentHomeLoans.com, and check them out. Timothy P. Pope is a certified financial planner dedicated to guiding professional pilots through smart financial planning. Whether it's saving for retirement, investment management, a seamless military transition, or strategic tax planning, Tim is your trusted financial partner. Also, you can join Tim as he leads engaging discussions on personal finance and strategies for professional pilots on the brand new Pilot Money podcast. Timothy P. Pope, helping professional pilots make the most out of life. All right. Party people, welcome. I have a cool guest today, Tom Finnis, who's the Director of Recruiting, Marketing, and Outreach for the College of Aviation at Western Michigan University. And I'm so glad I said it all on the first try. Tom, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate you having me and look forward to sharing some information about Western Michigan University with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am really glad that you're here because I think that your school offers a really interesting setup for somebody that's interested in aviation. So will you, first off, give us the pitch? Like, tell the person at home, tell the kid who is not yet a professional pilot, who wants to go down that path, why is Western Michigan University a great place to consider?
Well, I think ultimately there's no better time than now to be pursuing a career as a professional pilot, professional aviation maintenance technician, or a professional aviation management operations or someone working in the logistic ends of aviation than now. I mean, we're in the biggest demand in aviation that we've seen in 40 years. And here at Western Michigan University, some of the points of pride that we like to share and tell with our students is that we're a great choice. We're a great option for them. We're one of the older aviation programs in the country. We actually started teaching aviation in the southwest corner of Michigan back in 1939. So you think about it, 30 years after the Wright brothers did that famous powered flight from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, some very, very smart individuals in Western Michigan University's history decided to start an aviation program. So we started teaching aviation in 1939. We started as an aviation maintenance program because you had some wise people that saw things that were happening in the world and knew what was going to happen. And then we very, very quickly evolved into offering flight training through the Army and the Navy Air Corps. And we've grown that time. So, we're currently in our 84th year of operation. I think that's a very valuable thing to have. We are reliable. We're not going anywhere. We've seen the ups and the downs, if you will. Sorry for the pun about in aviation. But we've also grown into one of the larger aviation programs in the country. And for, I think, students that are looking at pursuing aviation as a career path, that's pretty cool. When I talk to a lot of students in their high school age students, I talk to them like, how many of you are you in your school? And they're like, well, there's 2 of us that like aviation in my school. I'm like, well, you can come to Western Michigan University, and the university has 18,000 students, which itself is pretty cool. But in aviation, we have over 1,100 students that are pursuing aviation careers. And so being one of the larger aviation programs in the country is a pretty cool thing. We offer 3 different degrees in aviation. We offer students the opportunity to become a professional pilot, and that is our largest program in the College of Aviation. About 800 or 900 students are pursuing aviation, what we call our aviation flight science degree, which is our professional pilot training program. We also offer an aviation management and operations program, which is the logistical side of aviation, the managerial side of aviation, the operational side. We have about 300 students that are studying the management and operations program. And then we have about 150 students that are in our aviation technical operations program, which is the airframe and power plant for people that want to build, repair, fix the aircraft. I often say that the numbers don't add up, because when you add up the 800 or 900, the 300, 150, it adds more than the 1,100 that I mentioned. But we get a lot of students that cross-pollinate, that are double majoring in those various different career paths.
God bless those double majors, man. I couldn't do it. I could barely do one thing, man. So the main campus is in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and the aviation campus is in Battle Creek.
Correct.
If I'm a student there, do I just kind of spend most of my time in Battle Creek? Do I go back and forth between the 2 towns? What does that look like?
Great question. So the difference between Kalamazoo and Battle Creek is about 18 miles. Now, I always say your listeners are going to be coming from lots of different parts of the United States and the world. And I always want to reassure them that of the southwest corner of Michigan, 18 miles is literally about a half-hour commute. I've talked to people in Chicago and Indianapolis and Atlanta, and I say 18 miles, and you see the horror that appears in their eyes, because they're like, 18 miles? Oh my gosh, we're going to be commuting for 3 days, to get back and forth. But literally, it's about a half-hour commute. We have a shuttle bus that runs back and forth between main campus and Battle Creek. But our students, we always like to tell them they're going to live in 2 worlds. They're going to live on main campus. That's where the majority of them live. Kalamazoo that's where all the student life is and all the fun stuff, the football games, the basketball game, our Bronco hockey team, which is there. That's where the residence halls are, the dining halls, all of the fun stuff that they can do. And they'll take some of their general education courses over there. They'll take math, they'll take physics over there. But they're going to take the majority, about 85 to 90% of their aviation courses are going to be over here in Battle Creek. We're located at the Battle Creek Executive Airport at Kellogg Field, primarily on our airfield. It's a great location. We have 2 parallel runways and a perpendicular one. One's a 10,000-foot runway. We've turned it into the 3rd busiest airport in the state of Michigan. That's how busy we are. There's no commercial traffic here. It's primarily us. We share the field with Duncan Aviation, which is the largest family-owned maintenance, repair, overhaul company in the United States. They have a very, very large footprint at the Battle Creek Executive Airport. It's also home of Waco Aerospace, where they make replica biplanes. If you ever get in the area, fly up here, fly in and go to Waco Kitchen. It's pretty cool. It's great food. They have a great view that you can see across the airfield. But this is where they are. We've just built a brand new aviation education center. It's a $22 million expansion. We went from a 16,000 square footprint of academic space to over 60,000 square foot. We built in a brand new flight simulation lab. So we now have our 4 Frasca sims that are in there. We have our 2 737 MAX sims. We just placed an order for a Piper Seminole sim that will be going in there. We have a paint lab booth in there. So it's a kind of a one-stop shop that we have for all of our aviation students. Our academic advising is under here. We went from 6 pilot briefing rooms to 25 pilot briefing rooms. So again, excuse the pun, aviation is full of them, but we have elevated the aviation experience significantly for our students. The design of the building, also the architects, when they designed it, they did a lot of research with our students, our faculty, our staff, and our alumni. And so it's a very open space kind of platform, a lot of blue skies. No matter where you are in this building, you can look out and see the sky. You can see airplanes flying. You can see all the cool things that help students dream and focus on where their career path is leading them. So I do think it really gives our students truly the best of both worlds. They get a large public university feel. So they're going to get friends. They're going to have an opportunity to be friends with our College of Business, our College of Engineering. They can hang out with students that are in our College of Fine Arts. We have a great opportunity for students to engage in the arts and the sports and all of those wonderful things that make college a whole lot of fun, while also learning the uniqueness of the aviation industry, again, at one of the larger aviation programs in the country with also one of the oldest. So
walk me through, if I'm a freshman coming in, walk me through what my career would look like at the school and what I would leave with and how I would be equipped.
So a lot of it's going to depend upon the career path that they go into. So in the technical operations program, so our airframe and power plant certification program that we offer, the students will come in, and currently right now, as of this academic year, we do, and we have offered it as a bachelor's degree program. So students will come in, they'll take coursework that's going to help prepare them to really enter in more of the managerial end of an aviation maintenance facility. They get all the hands-on coursework to qualify for the airframe and power plant certification that's issued by the Federal Aviation Administration, while also taking the additional college coursework that allows them to get a bachelor's degree. And so there'll be mixtures. They're going to be taking labs. They're going to be taking the theory, and maybe they'll take a structures class. But then that structures class where they learn the theory of structures will coincide with a lab work where they're actually going to go in and work with the materials that they're going to have. Our advanced structures, we're going to allow them to work with composites. In the maintenance program, the tech ops program, it goes all the way up to a senior level capstone course where our dean currently, Dr. Ray Thompson, works the students in a simulated maintenance repair overhaul environment. So they kind of get that real world experience. Fast forwarding into the next year, we will be going into what we call a certificate program, where a student will come in and they're going to front load all of their coursework in the airframe and power plant world, where they're going to do the A&P. And it'll be a 24 to a 30-month program. They'll come in, hammer all those things out to qualify for that. And then they'll be kind of at a crossroads. If they want to, with the certificate program, they'll immediately be able to go to work out into the industry. That's kind of what we're doing. We are prepping people to go on and become employed. But the nice thing is that if they want to, they can do a bachelor degree completion. They could do it immediately, right when they finish the A&P. They can go to work. They can finish it online, whatever it might be. So that's kind of what it will lay out with the airframe and power plant, is that currently there'll be a mixture of the aviation courses, and we'll throw in the physics, we'll throw in the technical writing and things like that. The management and operations degree, again, that business, operational, logistical side of aviation, that combines it's a hybrid, if you will. It will combine all the aviation specific courses that we need in order to understand this very, very unique industry. And I always tell students as they're looking at this, technically you could go get a management degree and go right into and work at an airline or an airport. There's nothing saying that you can't go in there. But your learning curve is pretty significant because of the fact you have to understand the regulation aspect of aviation. My joke that I always tell students is, what makes airplanes fly? And there's, wings and plane or propellers and jet fuel. And I'm like, no, the punchline is money. Everything in aviation is run by money. It's profitability and efficiency. But the difference is that profitability and efficiency also has to be managed with safety and all of the regulations aspects of it. So in our aviation management and operations degree, the students are going to come in and they are truly going to spend that time focusing on the aviation uniqueness of the degree. They're going to learn about airport operations. They're going to learn about airport safety. They're going to learn about corporate aviation. They're going to learn about, again, the uniqueness of that aviation industry. It's also going to coincide with courses like in marketing, finance, accounting, because again, it's that aspect of aviation that's coupled with the profitability and the efficiency end of things. And so again, with those students, Most of the accounting courses, the finance, the courses, the physics, the math courses, those are held on main campus, but all the aviation courses, a majority, are going to be held out at our aviation campus. And then you get into the last degree, which is the Aviation Flight Science program, and that's our professional pilot training program. Now, those students add in another layer of complexity, and that would be the flight training aspect of things. So the academics is very similar to the management and the tech ops program. They're going to be taking a lot of those courses. But then you have to add in the requirements of flight training. And those flight training courseworks in those labs are going to be things like the private pilot's license, the instrument rating, and the commercial multi-engine with a single engine add-on. Those are 5 additional labs, which also require 5 additional lab fees. And so if somebody's looking at pursuing aviation to becoming a professional pilot, it is imperative that they understand that typically on top of tuition and room and board, they're also going to encounter and experience lab fees. Learning to fly, unfortunately, is not inexpensive. Planes are pretty expensive to operate. And so those lab fees can be pretty expensive when you start looking it out. So those students also will be having to calculate and think about that as they're looking at managing those. Now, the industry is being pretty unique. There are a lot of challenges in the industry. So across the board, just about every one of us that are in the collegiate aviation environment are experiencing some challenges when it comes into training. And so what we've done at Western is truly, when it comes to learning or teaching students to be professional pilots, is we've been very open, honest, and transparent about the fact that starting to fly at Western may be slightly delayed. We are looking at a crystal ball that is very, very cloudy, and not just cloudy with white fluffy clouds in there. It's filled with dark black coffee clouds. And so as we try to predict the future, it becomes very challenging. But we have a very aggressive industry out there that is hiring certified flight instructors faster than they can be replaced, which is causing a little bit of delays in actually getting students started to fly. So an incoming freshman for our aviation flight science program, while our goal is to get them to fly as soon as we can, we've also been very open with them that we may not get them flying until maybe the end of their first year at Western. But typically the flight training aspect of the degree, it does encompass about 2.5 years of time that they'll have to allocate for that. So even if we don't get them flying sometime until the end of their first year or even into the start of their second year, theoretically on paper, we still should be able to get them completed with their flight training within the required time that it takes to get a degree. So does that help answer that question? I know that was a long-winded answer to tell us a day in the life.
No, absolutely. I think on the pilot side of the house, so what I take away from that is that there's great opportunity to get going when you graduate your students and they are able to hold a certified flight instructor certificate. You are losing them relatively quickly they're getting snapped up to move on quickly. And it's a good news story for them. It's a tough thing for the industry. You're not the only school that's facing that dilemma right now. It's this weird self-licking ice cream cone.
Yeah, when I talk to prospective students and their families, I'm always like, this is not an exclusive Western Michigan University problem. It is an industry-wide problem. And it is. You're very, very happy. These flight instructors are going out and getting jobs very, very quickly. And that's ultimately what you want. We love our students. We love our flight instructors, but they leave us pretty quickly in today's world. And it's great for them, but it does add a little bit of headache in the training end of things in the training world because we can see deficits that pop up very, very quickly. So we are in a never-ending situation where we are constantly cultivating and working on replacing flight instructors. And so that's why at Western, at WMU, we have opted just again we would rather underpromise and hopefully over-deliver with some of those things. And so sometimes people say, oh, you might not start flying at Western. And the joke used to be, it's like, you won't start flying at Western until you're a junior. In some aspects, we have had a few students that haven't started flying then, but we've also been very, very open with families and transparent with those because ultimately our goal is we want to be want to underpromise and hopefully overdeliver. Our goal at the end of the day, our goal always is to get our students to start flying as soon as possible. And I look at the class that came in fall of 2022, so just about 8 months ago. They had been told that we might not get them started flying sometime until their second year, but we actually had a few new students to Western that started flying their fall semester of their freshman year, and about 30% of our new students that started the spring semester, the second semester of their freshman year. And so for us, that's pretty good. And then we think that that's, again, rather error on the side of caution instead of overpromising with people, because all that does is lead to frustration. On the flip side of that, I was talking to one of our alumni at Sun and Fun. This was a few years ago. It's back when the flight instructor shortage really kind of popped itself up. I said, we're getting hammered by a lot of students and families by the delay in flight training. He's like, I just got hired by company X. I got hired 6 to 8 months ago. And I've been sitting around for 6 to 8 months as I've been waiting to start my hiring class. And he said, my recommendation and my suggestion to students is just get used to waiting, because somewhere along the line, you're going to be waiting to do something in the aviation industry. So, but it is a good news, bad news kind of thing. Again, the great news, the good news is that the jobs are out there. And at the end of the day, the students, the graduates of a program like we offer at Western Michigan University have an incredible, bright future. The challenge is that they're going to have a few hiccups along the way. And so having a little bit of a sense of humor along the way will make it a lot smoother as moving forward.
So 2.5 hours away from you is a little town called Detroit, and there are about 500 people a year retiring from a professional airline job at that particular airport. Any thoughts on going over there and talking to them and see if any of those guys want to become flight instructors in Kalamazoo?
Believe me, I am always leveraging and working with our alumni organization saying, hey, come on back and flight instruct. We would love it. And if anybody is out there listening and you want to come flight instructor at Western and you're retired from the airlines, believe me, we'd come. What I've typically found is after the very, very long career in the aviation industry, many of them are like, I just want to relax and have some fun. But
they're going to go.
We're always open. So
they're going to go drive that big old RV. All right.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this, right? I can go today, if I can invest in myself, I can go to a Part 61, and I can get some flight training, and I can get some ratings, and I can get some flight time. I can probably get some kind of high interest rate loan or something like that to help cover it. But I can accelerate and get my airline job at a major airline faster now because it doesn't require a degree anymore. Did until it didn't, and now it basically doesn't. So what is the pitch? Why should somebody consider getting a 4-year degree while they're getting their flight training?
So loaded question. Here we go again. You're going to listen to me talk an awful lot. Yes, again, very, very interesting market that we work in, and we are currently in the aviation industry. A lot of the airlines, not all, I think all of them have dropped their degree requirement. But then it goes back into kind of what we were talking about, understanding the business end of aviation, understanding the regulation side. Going to a university program like Western Michigan University that trains that following the Federal Aviation Administration's Part 141 rules of flight training. One thing that we do also because we offer an aviation degree coupled with it, which means that the knowledge that the student is going to get, the experiences, their theoretical end of aviation is going to be much more sophisticated than somebody just going to a local flight school. And as a result, the FAA is going to grant them a restricted airline transport license or license at 1,000 hours of flight time and 21 years of age instead of the normal airline transport pilot's license at 1,500 hours and 23 years of age. And so as a result of that, a person going to a university program with a degree is still going to get that benefit of actually getting into the industry 2 years sooner and 500 hours sooner than somebody just going to a Part 41 or Part 61 training program. Another advantage, I think, is that if your goal is to ever elevate yourself to a higher level of responsibility in the industry, that degree is going to be paramount. Now, if your goal is only to be a line pilot, that's all you want to do is fly the line, okay, a degree is not necessarily and today's market. But if you want to become that assistant chief, if you want to become that chief pilot of a domicile, if you want to get into the management end of things, if you want to get into maybe the Airline Pilots Association and those kind of things, you're going to need a degree. They're not just going to hand out those responsibilities to anybody. So they're going to want somebody that has done some critical thinking, that has done some academic coursework, that can analyze and synthesize ideas. So that's going to be very, very important. And getting that degree is going to elevate you to that plane. Probably the next benefit of getting a degree is that this industry is cyclical. Currently, right now, we are growing and we are climbing at an unprecedented rate. About every 8 to 10 years, it will go through a correction phase, and it's tied into the economy. So if the economy tanks, so does the industry. We saw what happened with COVID and all the furloughs that happened. We can go back to the Great Recession of 2008 and 9 and all of the things that happened there. We can go back to 2001 with September 11th and the impact that had on aviation. You can go back, and every probably 8 to 10 years, you can see a correction point in the aviation industry. And when that happens, the dreaded F word, and by the F word, I'm talking about the furlough word, is going to get thrown out. Now, when furloughs happen, airlines can become very, very particular. And one of the things they become particular with is degrees. So when they start hiring back, they can elevate that requirement. As fast as they drop that bachelor's degree requirement, they can elevate it and bring it right back. In 2009, when I was working here at Western Michigan University, and I got numerous calls of people that had lost their jobs and they wanted to get hired into another airline and they did not have a degree. And they were asking me to be a miracle worker. And I'm like, there's not really anything I can do. Your only option would be to enroll and go through the motions of actually getting a degree again. So those are the things. And it's very hard when you're talking to a 16, 17, 18-year-old student or somebody that wants to get into the industry as quick as possible. Is what you need to be doing is looking long term. What might this industry look like in 5 years, 10 years? And how can I leverage the time I have now to ensure and protect myself down the road? So those are kind of some of the things on, why get a degree? Because technically you don't need it. But if we use the time frame of, let's just say a 17-year-old, I graduated high school when I was 17 years old. And let's say I go down to the Part 61 world and I just go down and I hammer out all my ratings at a local flight school. Well, and let's say I finish in 2 years. So now I'm 19. Well, what am I going to do? Well, I'm 19 years old with my private, my instrument, my commercial multi-engine, my commercial single engine, whatever it might be. And now I got to build up my hours. Well, now I've got to build up and from my 180 to 200 to 250 hours up to 1,500 hours. So now I got to start flight instructing. Okay, well, I start flight instructing at 19, potentially. And now I got to build up not only to 1,500 hours, but now I got to wait until I'm 23. So now I got to wait from 19 to 23. So I got to wait 4 years anyway before I can get hired into an airline. Well, what am I going to do in those 4 years besides on flight instructing? Why not use that to get a degree? Use that time wisely. As a 55-year-old man who went back and got a master's in his mid-30s, that's a lot more challenging than when I got my undergrad when I was 17 to 22 years of age. It's way easier when you're younger than when you're a little bit older. You have more responsibilities and things like that. So yes, it is while it's not required, looking into the future and making decisions now that don't significantly impact you later is going to be paramount to your ultimate success in this industry.
That's the most important part of this whole interview. So we're probably done. But no, I'm just kidding. That the numbers, the timing, the importance of the fact that a degree doesn't matter until it does. And in this industry right now, because it did matter 110% just 2.5 years ago, but now it doesn't. And you are correct. If you want to be a chief pilot at a major airline at Southwest or United or American or Delta or whoever, you are going to be competing with other people and they're going to look at your resume and have it on paper. And if you don't have some credentialing, some grooming that shows that you are a person that can think critically, you're never going to get that opportunity. And it may seem like a long way away right now when you're 16, 17 years. I imagine when I'm 16, I was such an idiot. So I had no clue. Great value. I appreciate you saying all of that. How about this? This weekend on LinkedIn, I got a message from a young man in Ghana in Africa. And he said, I want to move to the United States and become a pilot, but I haven't been able to find any scholarships or anything like that. But I really want to come to the United States and do this. Is there a path for me? Have you had any kind of encounter with international students wanting to come to the United States and complete the program at Western Michigan?
Yeah, actually, when you look at the 1,100 bodies that are in the College of Aviation at Western Michigan University, about 10% of our students are international. Now, it gets challenging. As a public institution, we have regulations that we have to follow with the State Department. And one of the, in particular, things that the international students have to follow is they have to demonstrate financial capabilities, if you will, for at least the first year that they come here. And so that's a pretty significant obstacle that a student has to have, especially if they want to learn to fly because in their bank account, they've got to have enough money to demonstrate that they've got to cover the tuition, they cover the room and board, and if they're flying, to cover the flight fees for that first year. Because the worst thing that can happen is an international student comes over here and then they lose financing or whatever that might be. The demand for international is huge. We have one of our representatives who is a liaison to South Korea, and he comes and he talks to our dean, Dr. Ray Thompson, and he's like, Dr. Ray, I want to bring you 250 students. And because of the demand of our program, we're like, you can bring us 5. And it's very competitive and it's very hard. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic, because if he brought us 250 new students, it would just overwhelm us. So you try to balance it out with being accessible to international students and offering the opportunity, but also giving a little bit of reality about what it's like, especially to pursue an aviation degree.
Yeah. And you bring up a really interesting point. Think about the most narrow part of the Venturi nozzle. Well, as we're talking here, there's a pilot shortage. We need so many pilots, but we need to create those pilots. How do we create those pilots? We have to train them. Well, we don't have enough flight instructors because they're all going to the majors. So really, like, the belt is getting ratcheted down right there at that point, because if you had 100 more flight instructors, you could take exponentially more students, right? But you don't. And it's this funny chicken or the egg thing you get into as this industry starts churning the machine. And that is so fascinating. And the more I dive down into it, it seems like the only way to keep up with it is to be able to find creative ways to help ourselves be able to train those people and then get them quality entry-level jobs so that they continue to burn those hours. Because once they start crushing and can get their ATP, they're gone, right?
Absolutely. And the industry is very, very, like I said, I keep using the term, it's a very aggressive industry. They have demand, and they're looking at filling that demand in any capacity that they can. So as soon as you have the people that meet the minimums, and for like us, again, at WMU, our students can actually technically get hired at a regional airline with about 960 hours of flight time. And so once they get that, bam, they're gone. But necessity is the mother of invention. And so you have they're being very creative on providing other ways for people to build time. There is one of the regional airlines out there right now. They went out and bought a fleet of light sport aircraft, and they're offering cadets the opportunity to build time at a very, very reduced rate. And it's a brilliant idea. I was like, holy cow. But at the same time, you now have students that are pursuing that option to build time at a very, very reduced rate instead of becoming flight instructors. And so then that noose that you have around that nozzle is getting even tighter because the students are going to the path of least resistance. Flight instructing, very rewarding position, very rewarding career, but it's also a challenge. You're working and you're building time and all of that stuff. And if you can go this other way and for a much easier pathway, I always say I'm one of them, but as a human, we're all pretty lazy by nature, and we always want to go and do the things that are the easiest instead of, that's why very few people climb Mount Everest. It's challenging. It's hard. Walk over a little mound without anything in it because it's an easier pathway. And that's the same thing that we're seeing right now, is that the industry is offering other alternatives than flight instructing. And when you remove the flight instructors out of the equation, your pipeline, your pathway, your assembly line to meet the demand in this industry is going to get even tighter.
Yeah, you're right. And it's tricky. I think that each individual person has to balance out what is best for them and their family, especially if you're a younger man or a woman and you are considering this route of college versus skipping and moving ahead. You really need to do a cost benefit analysis of all of this and know that the other part of this is this industry is so fickle. They care 0% about you, not at all. The company that you're working for, they don't care. You are a number on a sheet, and they can take a pen and draw a line through that number the second they need to. And they do it every 10 years, and they absolutely do it. So find that balancing point where you are advancing yourself and making yourself the most valuable, because you are likely to get furloughed at least one time in your career, at least. And just because everything is awesome now, everything was super awesome in 2019. It was super great. It was really, really good. And then it wasn't. And that's where we are. So know that and plan accordingly if you even can. Tom, I really appreciate you spending time with us. I really appreciate the information that you've poured out and given to the pilot that's listening to this. And I really hope that it is fruitful. Also, I want to give a shout out to whoever's running your Instagram. It's really good. So way to go. I love it. And so give them a high five and buy them a beer.
I will. I'll most definitely do it. So if I could just kind of making decisions, choosing, research, go to the horse's mouth, go directly to the well when you're researching information. The internet is full of, we love our Instagram page, and Cadence, she's running our Instagram and all our social media, and she's doing a wonderful job. But if you have questions to us, if you have questions for Riddle, UND, Lewis, Ohio State, Kent State, whatever it might be, ask the institution. Be cautious of going to any of the forums that are out there or reading the cesspool that is the comment section of just about every social media post. I mean, we pride ourselves on the fact that we will tell you what I call the Clint Eastwood version of aviation. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I want you to make an informed decision. I want to provide you the information that's going to allow you to make the choice that's going to be the best for you. I mean, we are a Delta Propel school. We're a United Aviate school. We're a Skywest Elite program. I just had our Aviation Outlook Day, which is our career day. I had nearly 60 companies that participated in our Outlook Day and our career day this past week, which is all great. But if you don't like it here, then don't come to Western. If you feel that Middle Tennessee State is a better fit for you, then go. Middle Tennessee State's a great school. I like us. I'm biased. I'll tell you that a million times. I'm 100% biased about Western's aviation program. But at the end of the day, I'll also tell you, if you don't like it here, don't come, because you'll be a better student if you go to Riddle, if that's where you feel your fit is. And so do that research, but talk to the places directly. You know, you talked about the fickleness of this industry, and it is, and what you can do to make yourself and leverage yourself to success. And that bachelor's degree is a huge component, because you don't know what the future predicts. Being a CFI, I think, is a huge thing, and so many students are trying to find ways to circumvent it. But if you are going into this industry, at some point, your career goal is going to be a captain sitting in that left seat. And when you're a captain, you're going to be teaching and instructing that person sitting to your right. And so being a CFI is going to give you those skills and that knowledge necessary to help mentor that person that you're going to count on. So that's also part of this. You know, do your research, investigate the places, and, you know, talk to us. I don't think I'm a mean person. I like talking with people. Obviously, you know, Nick, you and I have been hanging out for, you're probably like, oh my God, will he ever be quiet?
This is
great,
it's been 40
man. Minutes. It's been a fast 40 minutes, let me tell you. But talk to us. I don't know any of my colleagues from any of the other institutions that I deal with that are going to sell you a false bill of goods. And so go to those sources and ask the questions.
Yeah, you're right. And this is the beauty of this industry versus all other industries, is everybody wants you to succeed. And they want us to succeed. They want you to succeed. And so do it. I'll have all Tom's information in the show notes, and you can reach out. He'll chat you up. He absolutely will. And I'm very thankful for that. So, Tom, thank you so much for spending time with us and giving us all that awesome information. And all I got to say is go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Thanks very much, Nick. I appreciate it.
Hey, before I let you go, I need to mention one thing, because a lot of people are asking me, can you do anything? Can you help me with this? And the answer is yes. At Spitfire Elite, we will make more millionaires this year than Major League Baseball will make in the next 5 years. Our company actually does this. It's called Spitfire Elite Interview Consulting. And you can find us over at SpitfireElite.com. Our clients, they call us the easy button for interview prep because everything you need to crush your interview is there in one spot. Whether it's application review or interview prep, all of it is covered. We've helped thousands of clients who are now flying at their dream jobs because our coaches gave them the one-on-one feedback that they needed to succeed on the biggest day of their life. The best part of Spitfire is our community. All Spitfire clients will get access to our private chats where they can work with each other and they can work with our coaches and get the latest information on all the airlines. If you'd like to make sure that you are 100% ready to go on your big day, there is only one choice. Everything you need is in one place, and I think it's pretty affordable. You'll have to take a look for yourself. Just go over to SpitfireElite.com and check us out. Use the coupon code PODCAST and it'll save you 10%. And by the way, I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.